Hey Richard, how you doing, mate?
Hello, Jason. I'm well. How are you?
Not too bad. So we are going to have a drink because fixing OP is hard. So why the hell not?
Yes.
Congrats, man.
Cheers. Thanks for all your help.
Mm. So the first place to start is probably how you feeling at the moment. How's the body going?
My body feels good. I've just come back from vacation, so I'm fairly rested. I am diligently doing my rehab, and I've returned to playing football. That's soccer football, um, of which I can now play around an hour at fairly high intensity without any pain.
That's freaking awesome, man. So someplace I always like to start. One of my first questions is always, how did you find me, and what were your first thoughts when you started to kind of email me and get into this process?
I think I came across your name on a forum about Osteitis Pubis. I don't remember if it was you who posted your own name or somebody else recommended you. But that's how I found you. And during our initial exchanges, I suppose, gladdened to find somebody who actually knew what osteitis pubis was, and even better, had an idea about how to solve it without resorting to surgery.
Yeah, surgery does not sound like fun.
No, not at all.
All right, so why don't we like tell us about your story, like how you started to get it, how it came on, and yeah, just and how long you've been dealing with it and whatnot.
Yeah, so actually, I first got it about 6 years ago. I was playing soccer and a kind of strange thing happened. I went for a 50-50 ball with somebody who was also going for the ball, and he missed the ball and hit me in the inside of my knee, which caused me to fall over and land on my sacrum. Um, and I think we both went off injured, and I didn't think it was too bad at the time. But the next day, I woke up um, with an enormous amount of pain. I think it was really the worst pain I've ever been in, and it didn't really subside for a long time. I saw a few doctors. One of them did actually refer me to a physical therapist, and the physical therapist said this might be osteitis pubis. Um, so I went through rehabilitation. It took a very long time, and I got healthy again. And but I was never able to fully kind of 100% be cured. It was always like something I would manage. Um, and over the preceding 6 years, I kind of relapsed two more times. And the third time is when I was having trouble fixing myself, and that's when I found you.
I was gonna say, how old were you when you had that incident where you hit the guy?
31, I think, or 32.
Was that one of those moments where you're just like, oh god, I'm getting too old for this shit?
No, I didn't really feel old when I was. I feel old now, but I didn't feel old then.
Because like I'm about that age now, and if I got like really hit, I feel like I'd just be like, oh, I'm getting too old for this shit. Just like just get like completely
it was.
smashed.
It was definitely. I don't know. Maybe if it would happen when I was 20, I would have recovered quicker. But um,
Well, it's
yeah,
it's, it's so interesting because most people with OP don't have like a specific like injury or a specific thing. I always thought with you that it must have really done something to the position and the way that your sacrum sits on your pelvis, and it
hmm
just created a core like a chain reaction of events that really put a lot of pressure on the area. Because yeah, it's very unique and very unlike 99% of the time people get it and they don't even know why it's or when it started. They just like, oh, I just came on one day and I can't remember. It made your case very, very unique and very different from a lot of perspectives. Because yeah, it's such an interesting and different kind of yeah induction into OP as opposed to what most people experience.
yeah.
All right, so you start we email back and forth. We start kind of like working on some stuff. So first session comes in. and I just start talking incessantly and provide you with way too much information, and then start getting to do some like body squats and some ab wheels and stuff. What's going through your head at that point? Like what's kind of like yeah, what's going through your head?
Um, I think when we did the assessment, standing on one leg, and then also, I suppose, what we now refer to as the four pad raise, both of which I think were quite illuminating to you to show you my imbalances. It was, yeah, I think it was. I was just glad that kind of somebody knew what was going on, or and kind of knew what to do about it. I was also okay. So the ab wheel was something that I would say is kind of the thing that would bring out the pain quickest and most severely. So I think at least knowing that was being able to do that was part of the um, like path to rehabilitation was good, because I felt like I was going to overcome something that was like my weakest point physically.
See, I really like that. I went through chronic back pain myself. And so like the physical act for me, the big turning point for my back, like, you know, I went and studied, learned myotherapy, my back still wasn't better. The big turning point for me was just lifting heavy things off the ground and just deadlifting. And for me though, it was just this like, oh, this thing that I was so scared of doing. Once I like went in there and did it and it was like, knew how to do it without hurting myself, it's like, oh, okay, I can do this crap. Like I can like I really like to try and create that moment for everyone when they're doing
Mm-hmm.
stuff, because it's like okay, if you can do something that brought on pain before, and then you can just change what you're doing and do it without pain, then your brain's like, oh well, maybe this can just be changed. I just have to change how I'm doing stuff, rather than being this like unknown, like unquestionable thing that you're just like, why does this happen? It's like, oh, I can control how this happens. Which yeah, I always find like such a really interesting and really good way to just kind of feel like you can get on top of it.
Yeah, it's very liberating.
Mm. Um, for anyone who's having trouble following, there's a couple of tests I do with people just at the very beginning, and basically they just test how well. There we go. Remember this?
Okay.
How well your pelvis rotates on each other, and if your pelvis is stuck and you go to lift your leg up, and this is stuck, you can't lift the leg up, so you'll start twisting your pelvis, and this is just happening with anyone who has OP. We'll do some version of that all the time, and knowing it and seeing it, and then being able to explain it to someone just makes life easier, because you know then what's happening, and you can know understand what you're doing and how it's going to correct it. Which yeah, I always like I feel like it's just I don't you can let me know on this. I feel like it's so important to know what it is that's wrong and why you're doing what you're doing, and how like that specific exercise is going to fix what you're doing, as opposed to like, oh, I'm going to do this 100 times and hopefully when I go run there won't be any pain kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so of all the exercises you're doing, which were the ones that made you just want to like throw stuff at the wall?
You mean which was the most frustrating?
Yeah, yeah. Which ones were the ones you're like, I'm going to break up something now. This is annoying the hell out of me.
I think probably some of the mobilizations, because I felt like, so I have awful ankle mobility, and it takes a long time to increase ankle mobility, and it sometimes when you try and improve ankle mobility, it feels like you're kind of trying to make concrete bend a bit. It just feels like it's never going to change.
It is not a fun joint, the ankle, because it's just like all these bones that are just stuck on top of each other that are just falling into the ground, and yeah, they just hit each other. Yeah, ankle mobility is not fun. I'm trying to remember the ones that you really struggled with, more like the movement ones. Like you were always reasonably good at deadlifting and stuff. I feel like the kettlebell swings. Did you struggle with them?
No, I actually like the kettlebell swings, but the kind of near the end of rehab when we went through mobilization, like um, the arabesque, the
Oh
kind of
yeah, yeah,
those ones. Yeah, like hips are fine. My hips I feel have got better, but my ankles, yeah, they are frustrating.
yeah. Yeah, and what's like, so I have one of my ankles is I've kind of torn all the ligaments in it. So what happens to that one? That one improves, but my left one gets so much better that there's always this disparity. and it's really annoying because I always have this weaker right ankle, even though it's much better than it was. I still kind of feel like there's always a crappy ankle and a good ankle, and my body
Yeah.
always wants to favor the good ankle, which also doesn't make life easier as well when it comes to trying to mobilize and get more mobility out of it.
Yeah.
All right, so as you're going through the program and you're kind of working through the exercises and stuff, at what point did you start to feel like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm on top of this. I feel like I can really do this. I like, at what point did you kind of cross over from being like, I'm not sure what's going on, this is really hard, to, oh, okay, I can do this. This is fun. This is like, I can strengthen this. I just need to keep pushing.
I think the tipping point in the program for me was when the pain went away, and that was just after we talked about the hollow body rocking.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I distinctly remember, yeah, that was the point where the kind of nagging 3 out of 10 pain, around my lower abdomen kind of disappeared. And that's a great relief. And I felt that at that point I was on the kind of path to recovery.
It's
So yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah, it's so interesting and so weird with that because so for the hollow body for a lot of people, that's a exercise that's really provocative for them. That brings their pain on straight away, and it's often one where I just go like, so I'll try different exercise. I'll be like, yeah, you know what, let's not bother. Like I'll just be like, don't worry with the hollow body. Like give it a try. It's just not that's not the exercise for you. But then for other people, it's like, oh wow, that really just gives me I feel my core kicking in, and I feel the adductors turn off, and it's just like this like immediate like connection. I always find it
Mm-hmm.
so interesting the way different people's bodies connect to different things and like approach to different things. Like because you're always very good with your glutes, like your hip movement through your deadlift was always very very good. And then what you struggled with later on was just stuff that involved rotating, like rotating your torso over the top, and I think that always linked to the lower abdomen, the fact that you would get more lower abdomen pain than really those lower symptoms as well. And it's always so interesting that, yeah, like if you think about that hollow body, you're tucking the pelvis underneath. So for you, that's pulling that lower abdomen up and making it part of the rest of your like six pack. And it's
Mm-hmm.
moving and shifting the pelvis and the sacrum as you're doing that. And some part of that connection must have let your hip flexors kind of switch off a bit and let your core kind of take over and release the sacrum, which did the trick for you, and then for someone else it'll be something completely different, and it's always so interesting to see which one of it is.
Mm.
All right, of all the exercises, which one was your favorite?
I think the deadlift.
Yeah, it's close to my
Probably
heart as well.
because it's yeah, I've deadlifted before and I like deadlifting, so knowing that deadlifting is a is a part of the program is good. I also liked it because I could keep my strength.
Yeah.
Deadlift as heavy as possible.
Yeah, deadlifts are really close to my heart because they fixed my back. But what I really love about them is just the idea that like you go in, you put in some deadlifts, you're getting every muscle in your body pretty much like as you're kicking into a deadlift, and that you can do it, but still like not completely burn yourself out for the next day if you do it smart. So you can
Yeah.
deadlift, get this incredible workout, yet still be good to go run the next day and not be like absolutely sore and dying from it. Yeah, I love the deadlift's very close to my heart as
And
well.
your version of the deadlift with the feet in mountain pose and keeping the knees still was um, different to how I've done it before, and it was very nice to kind of be taught how to deadlift, even though I thought I was good at deadlifting.
Yeah, you must have gotten sick of me going, yeah, bum out further, bum out further, bum out further. I feel like I need like that's like the one thing that like I think modern life kicks out of us is the ability to move our hips backwards. So if I had like $1 for every time I said that, I think I'd be a very rich man. Because yeah, it's such an interesting one, like where the deadlift gets shown to people in so many different ways, and it gets really demonized as this bad exercise because it hurts so many people. But yeah, when you can find the right way to do it, it just feels so goddamn good. Well, I've taken up enough of your time. Just one last question, and I always ask this one is, if someone was watching this, and if they were to ask you, what did you think of the program? Should I do it? What would you say to that person?
I would say that you have nothing to lose by doing the program, and if you're thinking about having surgery, then at least try this first.
Awesome, awesome. And any advice you'd give to them, or anything about starting and what you took away from, well, more importantly, how you were able to successfully do it and get through OP?
Yeah, I mean, you have to really know why you're doing what you're doing. So if you're deadlifting and you're not moving your knees and you're sticking your bum out, you should know that it's because you're loading your glutes, and it just helps so much to know why you're doing something instead of just doing it thinking that it's going to help.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. That was awesome, and yeah, and hopefully anyone who's watching this, hopefully you can take some stuff away from it. But yeah, thank you so much.